Praise the Lord, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell, I guess, and I guess it notifies you when a new video is out. It has been 2 weeks, and like I promised you, we have 2 special guests. I have my brother, worship leader Isaac Sarabia, and my cousin, although she don't think we're a cousin, Sister Amy Gonzalez. I will put their Instagram. Well, he doesn't have one, but I'll put her Instagram down here.
I'll make an Instagram right now.
Oh, you make an Instagram? If you guys like and subscribe, he'll make an Instagram. No. All right, guys. Well, I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you again. The number of subscribers have gone up. Thank you guys very much. God bless you guys for that. This is all for you guys. Again, this is to edify the kingdom of God, to, have our talents grown at a whole other level for our churches, for our praise team, for the musicians, for your pastors, for whomever, for yourself. So we have, again, my brother, Sister Amy. They just came back from choir practice, right?
Yep. That's correct.
You guys might want to get a little close.
There it is.
Our first choir practice.
First choir practice. Oh, guys, real quick, before we start, I want to clarify that these are not singing mics, okay? So we don't have any filters. These are drum mics. They're drum mics. So if you hear like that, sorry, but that, because we don't have no filter, it's not a singing mic, so we're just using something to kind of just make the quality a little better. It is better than just the actual, camera mic. So, yes, Sister Amy here, Isaac, came back from practice. How was practice? Let's start there, because this is what the topic is going to be about, practice.
Well, it was interesting. Mm-hmm. It's the first time that GCS has a direction team, I guess, instead of just one director.
Okay.
We went that way just because, we're all growing up. We have busy schedules or moving at some point, yes. And we wouldn't want the choir to just depend on one person.
Amen.
So, choir director leaves or can't go anymore, and then the choir's gone, and it's like,
Amen. We
don't want that to happen anymore, so we're doing it as a team.
That's right.
It should be interesting.
Amen. Praise God. That's good. Teamwork makes dream work. You know that.
Yeah.
All right. So again, like I told you guys yesterday, there's going to be no edits. If we mess up, we mess up. We're going to talk. We're going to be real with you guys. This is what happens at practice. At practice, we mess up. At church, we mess up sometimes, and it's just like, ooh, la regué. Like, I really, really messed that one up. You could be up at the altar, and you're just like singing. You make this ugly face like, oh, I don't even know the lyrics to this song, and I said this word. Or you try to hit a note, and you're just like slightly off or very off. And it's just like, Lord, don't let them know what happened. But
don't make faces or they know.
So this is what we're going to talk about, the importance of practicing, okay? And I don't know what I'm going to name the title. You guys will see it, of course. I still don't have a title for it. I know people find practice to be a waste of time. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Mine? Practice is not a waste of time.
No.
Practice obviously isn't a waste of time. Practice is really edifying for not only the praise team member. Wow, your mics are amazing. Not only for the praise team members and the musicians, vocally, but also spiritually. I think it gets you ready in a spiritual way.
Amy?
I know I've been at the other end where I have felt sometimes that practice can be a waste of time. And I think it's just because of how we use our time. I know, like, a lot of times, especially if you become really close with the people that you practice with, it becomes really easy for it to kind of just turn into, like, a little social meet.
Yes. Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah, or, like, if everyone comes unprepared, then it's frustrating and not a lot gets done. But it's definitely important, and if it's a productive practice, then
it can go far.
Good for you, yeah.
Yeah, it can definitely go far. So here's my thoughts. I think it could be both. It could be a waste of time because we're not prepared. Mm-hmm. But if we're prepared, like you said, if there's a prepared team, prepared musicians, prepared vocalists, prepared worship leader, if you know the lyrics, if you know the melody to the song, you can have one of the best practices for your church, for your praise team, for your band.
Yeah, I've had practices that have taken 2-3 hours, and we don't get as much done in practices that we all come prepared and we're done in an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Just real quick, we're gonna talk about this real quick for the whole wasting time, and I know that it might happen in your group. I'll tell you something. It happens in my church, and I'm not trying to bash my church. I'm not trying to bash nobody. It's what happens. Okay, so I don't want you guys seeing these videos thinking, oh, I'm gonna move to Vegas because they have the best practices. No. We also have to work on our things, and we're just again trying to help you become better, and at the same time, we're preaching to ourselves. We're trying to become better as well. So, something that I see a lot at practice that I think we need to change. Number one, musicians should practice separately, and vocals should practice separately. So there should be 2 practices, one with the musicians only, let's work on our parts, let's work on this, and vocalists working on their voices and their parts. And I think that's how it should be. Reason I say this is because here's my how I lived it. Some practices, my reasons. There have been practices, and I don't know if you guys are there with me. There have been practices where we are either the vocals are holding back the musicians or the musicians are holding us back. Like, oh, wait, before you do that, let me just hit this, let me do this. Our whole band isn't getting it right. Just give me 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes turns into 20 minutes, and that 20 minutes turns into 30 minutes, and you're just standing there like, when are these musicians gonna get it? I came here after work, I'm really tired, and this is not a productive practice. Or it's vice versa, where the musicians got everything down, and the vocals are like, what's the voice? What's the voice? Yeah. What's my voice? Can you? And they pull out their phones because they don't know the lyrics. I've been there.
That was today.
That
was today.
What's your Wi-Fi password? You need to come prepared.
Junior, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
Oh, Junior. So your guys' thoughts on that? Just the whole, do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? What do you guys think on that? And at the end, of course, between those, before I'll let you guys go, sorry, after the vocals practice by separately and the musicians, then you combine them together, and you guys have a really, really good practice.
You have any thoughts on that, Amy? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think if time allows for that, I think that's a really good thing to do, because we do hold each other back sometimes, and sometimes the vocals kind of have their part and the musicians kind of have the part, but we're still struggling to put it together a little bit, and just but we have to do this transition, or one musician has it and the drummer has it another way because they practice a different version. And I don't know, I think it's good for the musicians kind of to talk to each other and the singers to talk to each other, but definitely there still needs to be enough time for them to practice together, because I've been to practices where we've also been separate too long, and then we only leave 15-20 minutes to come together, and then we're struggling still. But if time allows it, I think that's honestly a great strategy. Yes, you're right. I didn't think about that. Learn to manage your time wisely. Something that we used to do for GCS, I remember when I was working, especially when activities would come closer, I don't know if it was Brother Haldren or Rafa, they would text me and be like, hey, we need to practice musicians-wise. Practice starts at 7:30. Can you give me the key, or can I call somebody to open the church for me at 6? So they had a whole hour and a half, or at 6:30, an hour to practice, do their warm-ups, and then choir would get there, and boom, we would have a really good practice. That's how it would be sometimes. A really good practice, and I really want Isaac to share this. Isaac sang with Jason White, and I think his practice is one of the best practices that I have seen in my life. Legit.
For sure.
If you can explain that a little bit, bro, that would be.
Well, yeah, pretty much what Jason White did. What Jason White did was pretty much he broke it down. So he had a whole set list. First of all, he broke it down by song, and he didn't just say, "Okay, we're gonna sing this song, and these are the lyrics, and hear the song and listen to them, and we're gonna practice it." Before he even touched basses with the musicians, he called the vocal leaders first, or the praise team first, and he went over each and every one of our voices individually. So he would go to the tenors and he would say, "This is your voice, repeat it after me." And then he would go into the altos. When the tenors were done, he'd say, "Altos, these are your voices," or "This is your voice, repeat it after me." And once they got it done, he would go to the sopranos and make sure each and every one of our voices were aligned and blending and harmonizing really well before he even touched the music aspect. And it was kind of a long practice, honestly.
I think it was 2 to 3 hour long practice. But I'm telling you, his practices, and this is another thing we could talk about, make practices seem like you're in an actual service. It's because sometimes we go to practice and we're like, okay, let's skip. And Jason White, what he did was, I mean, he acted like people were there, and we're not doing it for people. He knew who was in the building, and that's God. Oh my God, I'm about to go somewhere with this. No, but seriously, so when we go to practice, you're not just singing and like, okay, I mean, it's not Sunday, so I guess I'm not praising. You're still praising God with the practice. And I think God deserves the best in practice, God deserves the best in service, and God deserves the best, period.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that practice was really, 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 really good. I learned a lot. Sometimes I go to places and I act like, hey, you know what? It's a service. Let's get our vocals down. Let's get the musicians down. Let's do it the right way. Number one, first try.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Well, I know something that I've been guilty of. You know, like everyone's busy, and when you're going to school and you don't want to be out late, or you have work the next day, you don't want to be out too late. And so you're like kind of rushing through practice. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that I have to work on, and I've been working on, is just being present. You know, because I know sometimes like I'm so busy and I'm like just thinking about like what I have to do next, and I'm not there. So you're gonna be there for the time that you're gonna be there, whether you're rushed or you're not rushed. You've already decided I'm leaving at this time. Okay, then just be there for that time.
Mm-hmm. And actually be there, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know I'm guilty of just like, I need to go. What time is it? I need to go. And just like, okay, now I try to think, this is the time I have to leave, but from here until then, like, I'm going to be present.
Mm-hmm. I think that's another thing that we need to talk about. Punctuality. Punctuality is huge. In our church, we do this. There's going to be practice at 3:30, and we show up. Musicians sometimes show up at 3:20, sometimes show up at 3:45. The worship leader shows up at 4:25. It's like, what happened?
And then there's prayer at 4:30.
What kind of prayer? Yeah, and then we're having practice for like, for the remainder of the time that we have left, and prayer starts at 4:30. And the director that leads the prayer, he doesn't care if there's nobody at church. The dude grabs the mic and it's like, okay, hermanos, Dios les bendiga. Hermanos, vamos a empezar a orar. And like legit, he shuts everybody down. So very important. If your practice is at 7, be there at 7. Be there at 6:50. Show your director, I want to be here. I'm here to help. I'm here to learn. I'm here to practice. Don't be there at 7:30 with the Starbucks coffee. Be like, oh, I'm sorry, traffic or whatever. If you're working and you're busy, I get it. But if you have the time to do it, be there on time. Guys, this is a huge responsibility. God has placed you in that place. He has placed you to be a part of an amazing team. It's not just singing. I mean, God is using you. Are a vessel for his glory, for his presence to come down. You are what's bringing the presence to the church. I disconnected myself. Look at that. But if you guys can talk while I connect this, if you guys can add on or something.
You want to add something?
I just want to say sorry to my MDs. Because they'll probably watch this eventually. But yeah, I'm super guilty of not I don't know what that sound was.
I don't know, it's one of these two.
It's mine. I think it's like Is that what here? Yeah, that's fine. Sorry about that.
I'm guilty of getting there late.
Oh my God.
I am. And I'm not proud of it. Definitely ashamed. And I remember
it was like we're condemning her.
I remember we went to a conference at like this church. Mm-hmm. It was like one of those big churches. They have their YouTube channels and everything. Wow. Elevation Church. It was cool. We went and I was like, wow, like these guys they talked about like they get to practice at this time and they practice this and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, it's because they get paid, right? And then I'm like, what the heck? I'm doing it for the Lord.
There you go.
So I was like, if I want to be that good, like, it doesn't matter if I get paid or not, which, first of all, like, I mean, that's a whole nother issue.
That's a whole other topic.
But, you're doing it for the Lord. Like, whether you get paid or not, like, the Lord is going to repay you for your efforts. And
that's right.
It's a gift, So if to be on the praise team or the worship team, it's definitely a privilege.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, getting there on time is important because you're not just wasting your own time, you're wasting every other person's time. And my pastor, he told us a story where he had to deliver something. He was only 5 minutes late, but it was like he was just delivering food for a fundraiser we were doing at church. and the guy said, you've wasted 75 minutes. And then he's like, how? I'm only 5 minutes late. And then he's like, because he's like, you stole 5 minutes from every single person here. And I was like, dang, I'm stealing a lot of time. And like, if you think about it that way.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Well, guys, we have about 14 minutes in this video, and I know there's a lot to talk about. We're still going to keep going real quick. Something about practice. Practice should not just be done at church. If you're musicians, practice at home. Practice your scales. Next one, I don't know because I don't practice, but I only know my key of C. That's a fact. Oh, I thought he was gonna do it. If you're a singer, practice at home. Learn your lyrics. Okay, I got it. I got the lyrics at home. I'm gonna listen. Put some headphones on. I'm gonna listen to my piece. How do you do this? Because what happens is we tend to go to church, and that's where we start our first practice. We're just like, okay, this is my first time hearing the song, or we're hearing the song on the way to church. I've been there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been there where it's just like, okay, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, am I gonna remember at practice? And it sucks because when you get there and you see other people are prepared, and you're just like,
give me some time.
Give me some time. You use the restroom like 5 times to hear a part, and then it just goes. It's not a good practice. So make sure you practice your skills at home. Make sure if you're a drummer, learn some rolls at home. Don't do it during a song if you're not sure. Like and you're just offbeat, and you're just like, yeah, probably should have practiced that. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect.
And I'd say, like, treat every service like if you're the worship leader, or if you have a drum solo, if you have a piano solo, like if everything depends on you, like, because I know, like, if I'm gonna be in charge that week, like, I know I listen to all the songs, I know all the parts, like, even though I'm not gonna be singing all the parts, I'm not gonna have all the solos, I still know the songs because if someone else doesn't know it, I can help them. Right. But if we all go with that mentality, then we're good. We just can come and get stuff done, you know?
Yes. So again, to have a good, effective practice, I think, again, you separate your people, separate your musicians, separate your vocalists, practice at home, be punctual, and you have to understand that what you're doing is a sacrifice, okay? It's a sacrifice. You have to go at home and, guys, I'm going to take 30 minutes to just listen to my songs and just practice that in my bathroom. While I'm showering, I practice. While I do this, I practice. And do things like that. 2 more things that I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to end it. And just because we're ending the topic of practice doesn't mean we're never going to talk about it again, because her practices are different from my practices, and we're going to talk about that too. So three things left. One thing that I'm going to talk about, Kobe Bryant. If you guys don't know him, he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Okay, and this is going to be something deep. Kobe Bryant, again, one of the greatest. Wow, very talented. But because he was talented, and he knew he was talented, he knew he was one of the greatest, he didn't say, I'm not going to practice. And some of us have that mentality where, like, I'm a good enough singer. I already know my parts. They need to practice more than I do. If you do your research on Kobe Bryant was the first one to practice, and he was the last one to leave. The dude was dedicated to what he was doing. And I think he was just doing that for a basketball game. Mm-hmm. We're doing things for God. So just imagine, I'm going to put everything I got. I understand that that's his career, but this is our lifestyle. It's where God places us. Number 2, if Amy, you can explain how your practices roll in like 30 seconds, and I can explain how mine go. And I'm going to go first? Okay. So the way my practices at church are, and with all due respect to my church, I don't consider them practices, because here's the thing. We go to church, we have practice at 3:30, but we get there a little late. We have microphones to set up. We have a sound check to do. And I think that's what we do. I think we do a sound check instead of a practice. There's a big difference between a sound check and a practice. Sound check is, okay, can I get a little more monitor? Oh, don't forget we do this. You know, oh, don't forget this is your voice. Oh, speed up the tempo just by 3 beats, 4 beats, whatever. And practice is like where you're actually messing up. Like, okay, we're learning a whole new song. Don't worry about it. This is how it's going to be. So that's how our practices are, where we get there kind of late. We kind of go over Sunday's list, and that's not the best, but we have improved.
Yeah,
we have improved.
In the past.
I think the thing we can do is probably add another day to our week. And if you're doing the same thing, I would say add another day to your week. I don't know, maybe Amy has something different, and have just just the day of practice. Day of practice, this is going to be it's Thursday, and here's our Sunday list. And we're going to go over everything in these keys. And then Sunday comes, and you guys do a sound check. Okay, remember, we did this Thursday, we did this key, and this tempo. So I don't know how you do it. Maybe that's how you do it. If you can share your experience.
We've been doing it I've been at my church for 13 years, so I've been there to where, like, there were no musicians and no singers, and it was just me and my pastor's wife singing whatever and just showing up and singing songs, to where we started actually making a practice day. Years ago it was Tuesdays, and then just a few more recently it's been Thursdays. And so pretty much every Thursday, unless like a lot of people can't make it, we have practice. So our practice is typically about 2 hours. We practice our English set list and our Spanish set list. Then we come in, if we practice Thursday, we come in about an hour to half an hour to an hour early on Sunday, just to go over them again. And if we don't get to practice on Thursday, then we pick a simpler list, but come in like 2 or 3 hours earlier Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, those are pretty much the tips. Amy wrote something here that I want her to share, and then I will share one more thing, and then we're going to end the vlog like that. So, Sister Amy, go ahead.
Okay, so I sing. I'm not naturally a soprano, but I sing soprano in the choir. I think it's important to realize that your voice is a muscle and that you're only going to get better by practicing. People think like, oh, I'm not talented, I can't get better. Yeah, like some people are born with it already, some people are not, but you can always get there, like with anything, with sports, with drawing, with singing, with playing. Like it comes easier to some people, but if you work hard at it, you can get somewhere. So it's you need to practice, and it's okay to mess up.
Yes.
Like
yes.
everyone in the choir knows what I
is.
sound like when I crack.
Everybody knows how I sound like when I crack. Everybody.
Yeah, and people are too worried about sounding good at practice. I'm like, it's practice. This is where we can mess up. I was like, you know, you don't want to crack in real life. And if you do, it's not a big deal. You know, like you do things with excellence, but sometimes your voice goes out.
Yes.
You know, it happens.
And sometimes
happens to
those
Mariah
messed
Carey.
up voices are more anointed than your...
Oh.
I'm about to go in somewhere, but I don't want to. All right, guys. So yes, it's okay to mess up at practice. That's what practice is for. If you're messing up at church, then people are going to be like, these people need to practice. Oh my God. It's the truth though. It's the truth. And one more thing, guys, if you want to help your church, if you are willing to invest $15 a month, please send them to me. No, I'm kidding. If you invest $15 a month, there's this app called Planning Center. Okay, I'm going to talk about it real quick. Planning Center is an app that you are able to get 20 people, maybe 25 people involved in what is your worship group, what is your band, and you put them all together. So we barely started using that maybe a couple months ago now, like maybe 3 months, maybe 4. And it's a huge improvement because back in the day what we used to do is, I don't even know the set list. Sunday would come and the worship leader would be like, you know what, let's do this, that. We wouldn't even know what key. And then he would just start singing. We'd be like, I love it. Like, okay, what's the key? Oh, Señor. You know, and you're just like hearing things out, and you're just like, okay, that's the key he's on. So, yeah. So the Planning Center app, it allows you to put the songs with the lyrics and the key that you want it in, the beat that you want it in. You're able to send notifications like, this is the time we have practice. You're able to choose who the worship leader is, who's going to be soprano. I'm sorry?
The lyrics and everything.
Yeah, everything. Everything is involved for $15 a month. I think it's a great investment. That's how you're supposed to see it. It's for your church. I'm telling you, now we're a little more like aware, like, okay, so this is the song for Sunday's set list. And then again, it's our responsibility to practice at home and say, okay, these are the songs. What am I going to do about it now? You know what I mean? So again, it's Planning Center. I'll put it in the link down below. But Planning Center is the app, and I have it, and I love it. And he uses it. You guys use it? It's an amazing, amazing app. My pastor's involved with it. Well, he's in there, but I don't know if he's involved with it. I hope he is. My music director's involved with it. Everybody's involved with it, and we love it. You're able to show if you're going to go to the service or not. You can decline, you can accept, you can put your blockout dates like, so time, I'm going to be out of town. And it's really helpful. It's great communication, and I think you guys should get it. I'm not getting paid to say that, but it's an investment to help the kingdom. With that being said, guys, we are going to end. We have been talking for like 24 minutes. I did not expect this to be that long. I'm expecting videos to be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, but these topics are really, really good. They're going to edify. And we're going to cut it here. when we're gonna be posting maybe a cover. So we'll see. We're gonna end it and probably work something out here. Post it in a couple days after this. All right. God bless you guys, Amy, Isaac.
Man, God bless you guys.
God bless you guys.